Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Gurudeva. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Prairajakacharya Astotara Satashi Shrimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nantakoti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai, Ramacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopina Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. All glories to these simple devotees, all glories to these simple devotees, all glories to these simple devotees, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 70, Lord Krishna's Daily Activities, and we're on text 28. Swapnayitam nripasukam paratantramesha. Swapnayitam nripasukam paratantramesha. Shashvad bhayena mritakena dhuram vahamaha. Hitva tadatmani sukham twadani halabhyam. Klishyamaheti kripanastavamayyeha. Swapnayitam nripasukam paratantramesha. Nripasukam paratantramesha. Shashvad bhayena mritakena dhuram vahamaha. Bhayena mritakena dhuram vahamaha. Hitva tadatmani sukham tvarani halabhyam. Tadatmani sukham tvarani halabhyam. Klishyamaheti kripanastavamayyeha. Devotees. Swapnayitam nripasukam paratantramesha. Shashvad bhayena mritakena dhuram vahamaha. Hitva tvaran sukham tvarani halabhyam. Klishyamahitri kripanastavamayyeha. Swapnayitam nripasukam paratantramesha. Shashvad bhayena mritakena dhuram vahamaha. Hitva tadatmani sukham twadani halabhyam. Klishyamahe Kripanastava Mayayeha. Swapnayitam dripasukam paratantramisha. Shashvad bhayena mritakena dhuram vahamaha. Hitva tadatmani sukam tvaraniha labhyam. Klishyamaheti kripanastava mayayeha. Anybody? Swapnayitam dripasukam paratantramisha. Shashvad bhayena mritakena dhuram vahamaha. Hitva tadatmani sukam tvaraniha labhyam. Klishyamaheti kripanastava mayayeha. Swapnayitam, like a dream. Nripa, of kings. Sukam, the happiness. Paratantram, conditional life. Oh, conditional, sorry. Isha, O Lord. Shashvat, perpetually. Bhayena, full of fear. Mritakena, with this corpse. Dhuram, burden. Vahamaha, we carry. Hitva, rejecting. Tat, that. Atmani, within the self. Sukam, happiness. Tvat, done for you. Aniha, by selfless works. Labhyam, to be obtained. Klishyamahe, we suffer. Ati, extremely. Kripana, wretched. Tava, your. Mayaya, with the illusory energy. Iha, in this world. Translation. O Lord, with this corpse-like body, always full of fear, we bear the burden of relative happiness of kings, which is just like a dream. Thus we have rejected the real happiness of the soul, which comes by rendering selfless service to you. Being so very wretched, we simply suffer in this life under the spell of your illusory energy. Please repeat. O Lord, with this corpse-like body, always full of fear, we bear the burden of the relative happiness of kings, which is just like a dream. Thus we have rejected the real happiness of the soul, which comes by rendering selfless service to you. Being so very wretched, we simply suffer in this life under the spell of your illusory energy. Purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. After expressing their doubts in the previous verse, the kings herein admit that actually they are suffering because of their own foolishness, having given up the eternal happiness of the soul in exchange for the temporary conditional happiness of a so-called kingly position. Most people make a similar mistake, desiring wealth, power, prestige, aristocratic family, and so on in exchange for their own soul. The kings admit that they have fallen under the spell of the Lord's illusory energy and have mistaken the tremendous anxiety of political leadership for happiness. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadhati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we've been reading about Lord Krishna in Dwarka, his daily activities, and now he's sitting in the Sudharma assembly hall, and suddenly a messenger has arrived. And this messenger is coming from 20,000 kings who have been imprisoned by Jarasandha. And these kings are actually devotees of Krishna, and Jarasandha has kept them in captivity. They didn't surrender to Jarasandha, so he has captured them, and he wants to sacrifice them to Lord Shiva, actually. And the acharyas explain that he's actually making them suffer even more because they're devotees of Krishna. So he's not treating them very well. So they're there in that dungeon, very poorly mistreated, and they're turning to Krishna for help. So this is a sign of a devotee that, the acharyas also explain that they're not the most highly advanced devotees, but they're turning to Krishna in this difficult situation. And so they send a message to Krishna, and that message contains 6 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. I'll read the commentaries of the acharyas on this verse, but before that, I just wanted to go over the previous verses. So the first verse of their message is they're taking shelter of Krishna. They're saying, O Krishna, destroyer of fear of those who surrender to you. We have had a separatist attitude, but now we've come to you for shelter out of fear of material existence. And then the next 3 verses talk about what is their fear. So is it just Jarasandha? Then they explain, actually, it's the fear of this material world. People engage in sin and are bewildered. What is their real duty? And thus they avoid worshiping you, which is actually the real duty of the soul, which will actually bring them satisfaction. And for these stubborn people, you come as time, and you destroy their hope for a long life here. And then the yesterday's verse, which Jishta Prabhu read, was, Krishna, you come to this world to save the devotees and kill the demons. No one can transgress your law and still continue to enjoy in this world. And the acharyas make the point that they're having a doubt here. They're feeling like, how come we're devotees and we're suffering? And Jarasandha is a non-devotee, a demoniac person, and he seems to be flourishing. So what's going on here? They have a slight doubt. But in this verse, the doubt is they've come to the conclusion. This is in verse the 4th verse of their prayers, of the 6 verses of the prayer of the message of the kings. So this verse, they're saying, Isha, O Lord, Mritakena, we have a corpse-like body. So we don't usually think of this body like a corpse, but actually if you think about it, it's just because the soul is making it move, but otherwise if the soul's not there, it's a corpse. So mritakena, we have a corpse-like body, and because of this, shashvad bhayad, we're always full of fear. We're carrying a burden, duram vahama. What is the burden that we're carrying? One is the body, the corpse-like body, but the other is para tantram nripasukam. We have this hope of being happy as kings, nripasukam. And because of this hope of being happy in this world, it's kind of like a burden that we're carrying. And swapnayitam, it's just like a dream. So this hope for happiness in this world is just like a dream. And in one way, it's like a burden, because if you think that that this dream is real, that's actually a burden, because then you'll get so affected by what's happening in the dream. And in this way, hitvatad, we have rejected, what have we rejected? Atmani sukam, the real happiness of the soul. Tvad aniya labhyam. And how does that happiness come from the soul? It comes by rendering selfless service to you, Krishna. That's what real happiness is. But we've rejected it. So we're so foolish, kripana, we're so wretched. And we've caused our own suffering, klishya mahe. And this is because of your maya, your illusory energy. So now they've come to a conclusion. And what is their conclusion? It's not Jarasandha who's causing us suffering. It's actually, we're causing our own suffering by agreeing to live in this dream, or agreeing to identify with this body, with this dream world, with this hope for happiness in this world. That's what's causing us the suffering. It's not Jarasandha. So I wanted to focus a little bit about this point. But before doing that, I'll just read the Acharya's commentaries on this verse, which are very, very wonderful. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he says, kind of a dialogue, how he usually does. So Krishna is saying, so are you my devotees or my enemies, to the kings? And the kings say, we are neither. We are jivas engulfed in the material world who have surrendered to you. That is the import of this verse. Our happiness, thinking ourselves as kings, dependent on ministers, friends, and troops, is temporary like a dream. Actually, we're carrying a great burden from intense endeavors at alliance and war, with our corpse-like bodies filled with constant fear. It is unfortunate that we did not previously become desireless and take shelter of you. We gave up that happiness which is famous because of the praises of saintly persons. We gave up the happiness which is praised by saintly persons and not condemned by them, like our kingly happiness. And what is that happiness? It's which is yourself. It's not dependent on others. It's coming from you. It's not from gross material objects, and it's attained by selfless devotees, not by those full of lust. Therefore, we suffer. So basically, they're saying we're so unfortunate that we haven't surrendered to you earlier. All this time we've been trying to enjoy in this world. We've not taken shelter of you. We gave up the real happiness for something illusory. Jiva Goswami says, even today we have not completely given up Maya. Having lost our intelligence by your Maya, we suffer because we carry the burden of this body, which is like an unconscious corpse. Not only do we suffer by carrying this corpse, but we suffer by constant fear of sickness and time, which are like ghosts and spirits haunting us. Why do we carry this burden? That's a good question. Like, why do we carry such a burden if it's causing us so much suffering? And the answer is, it gives happiness of a king. So basically, it's the illusion of a happiness. We do not reject the burden even now because we want to attain the position of a king. This is condemned. And this happiness is not real, since it's like a dream, not substantial, and it is filled with misery. Having a kingdom is dependent on many factors. That would be all right if there was no other great happiness that could be obtained. But we have given up the highest happiness, which is testified in all the scriptures. This happiness is not dependent on other things, since it manifests on its own within the Atma. It can be attained from you by your devotees. And final, so basically what Jiva Goswami is emphasizing is they're saying, why are we carrying this burden? Because of this illusion of illusory happiness. And finally, Sanatan Goswami. Our happiness is like a dream, temporary and illusory. It is without happiness. The body by which we try to enjoy ends up giving suffering with constant sickness. We carry our burden with constant fear from sickness, etc., ascertaining death. In either case, there is suffering in living. O Lord, we belong to you. Giving up the happiness which is attained by your mercy, the happiness of realizing you in truth or meditating on you, we suffer in samsara. We experience plenty of suffering because we have become most foolish by your insurmountable Maya. Or we carry the burden of happiness of enjoying as kings. We have given up the indescribable happiness in the heart, or our sarupa, derived from your lotus feet, and suffer in this world, which is ornamented by your appearance. Or not only from Jarasandha, but by your Maya, we always suffer. Or do we make Jarasandha suffer through our suffering? We always suffer because of our faults. So the main point of Sanatana Goswami is that we're suffering not because of Jarasandha, but because of our own faults of identifying with this Maya. And in Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada makes the point that now the kings are coming to the right conclusion, that it's actually because of identifying with the body that's causing the suffering. So those are the commentaries of the Acharyas, and the theme that I saw from this verse is how to stay awake, because we're understanding from here is that how to stay spiritually awake, because the suffering is caused by identifying with an illusion. And there's many stories that Prabhupada gives of foolish, kind of analogy stories that kind of illustrate how foolish it is to identify with this illusory happiness. So one story is the lady old lady, she's carrying a bundle of sticks on her head. It's her only source of income to bring that to her village. And she trips and falls into the forest, drops all of the sticks, and she can't pick them up because it's getting dark and she's tired. And she calls out, "Hey, God, please help me. Oh, God, if you're there, please help me." And God appears, picks up and says, "What would you like?" And what does she say? "Please, kindly put the sticks back on my head." How foolish. The burden, that was the burden, right? That she was carrying, but she's like, "Please put it back." So, we can laugh at this story, but it's just a kind of pointing at what we're doing in this world, actually. We're keeping the burden that we don't need to keep on our heads. Another story is this is not an analogy story, it's actually a true story about how Indra once offended Brihaspati and got cursed to become a hog. And Brahma tried to bring him back, and he was so involved with this hog, his pig family, his wife, his little piglets. He said, no, I'm happy here, I don't want, And Brahma was trying to remind him, "You're Indra, the king of heaven. Why are you in this filthy place?" "No, I have to be here, I have to be there with my family." So he was so involved until finally his family had to be taken away from him, and then he realized, oh, okay, then he woke up from that illusion. Another one is the disciple who came to the guru and said, "Can you explain to me what Maya is?" And the guru said, "Okay, come tomorrow and then you can see." And then the disciple came and he saw the guru was holding on to a tree and saying, let go of me, tree, let go of me." And the disciple said, "You're the one who's holding the tree. Why are you saying that?" And then the guru said, "This is what Maya is. We're holding on to her. She's not holding on to us. Like, we're the ones So all of these stories are kind of reminding us of actually to take responsibility instead of blaming always the external, but taking responsibility that maybe it's something that we need to change on the inside that will solve the problem here. There's a nice verse in Srimad Bhagavatam that from the 11th canto that talks about how fear comes from seeing things as separate from Krishna. As soon as we think that we are separate from Krishna, this world is separate from Krishna, or any way we kind of, Maya, the definition of Maya is that which is not. So it means turning away from Krishna. And that verse is Bhayam dvitaya bhinaveshatasyad ishadapetasya viparyayo smritihi tanmayaya to buddha abhajet tam bhaktyayika yesham gurudeva tatma. And it means, bhaya means fear, dvitiya means in something other than Krishna, and biniveshata means because of being absorbed, and syad means it will arise. So fear will arise as soon as we become absorbed in non-Krishna. And things, we start to think that things are separate from Krishna, or I am separate from Krishna. And as soon as we have that separatist vision, that's when fear comes. And then the next line is, Ishad means from the Lord. Apetasya means we turn away. We've turned away. And because we've turned away, viparyayo, we're misidentifying ourselves as matter. And smritihi, asmritihi, we're forgetting our real identity as servants of Krishna. So because we've turned our back on Krishna, we have faced Maya, then we've identified with the body, we've identified with this illusory dream, and that's the problem. So what is the solution then? The solution, the problem is we've turned away from Krishna. We've had a separatist attitude, and that's how fear has arisen. And the solution is turning back to Krishna. I remember my Guru Maharaj used to say, it's, sometimes he would explain things in such a simple way, just like makes it like, oh, it's so simple. The problem is that, we're spirit souls. Our consciousness is like a laser beam, and we can only focus it at one thing, either Maya or Krishna. So we're focused on, as soon as we turn away from Krishna, we're focused on Maya. Then, because we're spiritual beings, we see the matter, and because we're superior to matter, we want to enjoy it. And then we start to think, I'm the enjoyer, the controller, instead of Krishna as the real enjoyer and controller. So it's just a matter of turning our consciousness. And it's something that's, we could think about it as the beginning of time, or whenever it happened that we turned away from Krishna, or we could think about it on a day-to-day basis, that whenever I'm absorbed in myself, that's Maya. When I'm absorbed in what's pleasing to Krishna, then I'm in Krishna consciousness. So it's a small internal switch that's that actually we can be conscious of even in our day-to-day, moment to moment, actually, in our life. So suffering comes from turning away from Krishna. And another thing I was reflecting on is that verse, Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam Sarva Loka Maheshwaram, how real peace comes when we realize Krishna is the controller, Krishna is the enjoyer, Krishna is the best friend. And suffering and anxiety comes from thinking, I'm the controller, I'm the enjoyer, and I'm the center. I should be the one that kind of everyone should be paying attention to. That causes suffering. And again, in our day-to-day life, we may have times where we suddenly feel ourselves getting more anxious or more depressed, and all these emotions naturally come to us because we're in a material body. But sometimes they're an indication that maybe we've been too much absorbed in the external energy, and we need to take a time to turn back to Krishna. And sometimes it's just a matter of stopping what we're doing for a little bit, turning to Krishna. In one kirtan retreat, when Satyananda Maharaj, he likes to guide the devotees how to dive deeper into the holy name. And he said, what do we do when our mind is distracted and we feel tired and we don't feel so good? What's the solution? Think less of yourself, think more about Krishna. And it seems counterintuitive because when you're in that depression or you want to think more about yourself, but the solution is to switch it, think more about Krishna. And then we're focusing on Krishna, and it gets us out of that self-absorption. So stop, sit in front of Krishna, offer some prayers, read about Krishna, hear about Krishna. And that spiritual sound vibration, keeping that spiritual sound vibration going is so important to help us stay awake. So I want to read one quote of Srila Prabhupada, which is really nice. This is from Nectar of Devotion about hearing about Krishna. And he talks about how hearing is the medicine to stay alert and awake in this world. So we need to be constantly hearing, either hearing the holy name, hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam. Having that daily dose of hearing is so important. In the morning, especially when we first wake up, at night before we sleep, and then throughout the day, constantly hearing. So Srila Prabhupada says here, in the Garuda Purana, the stress on hearing is expressed very nicely. It is said there, the state of conditioned life in this material world is just like that of a man lying unconscious, having been bitten by a snake. This is because both such unconscious states can be ended by the sound of a mantra. When a man is snake-bitten, he does not die immediately, but first becomes unconscious and remains in a comatose condition. Anyone who is in the material world is also sleeping, as he is ignorant of his actual self or his actual duty and his relationship with God. So materialistic life means that one is bitten by the snake of Maya illusion, and thus without any Krishna consciousness is almost dead. Now the so-called dead man bitten by a snake can be brought back to life by chanting of some mantra. There are expert chanters of these mantras who can perform this feat. Similarly, one can be brought back into Krishna consciousness from the deadly unconscious state of material life by hearing of the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And then he quotes from the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Shukadeva Goswami is saying to Parikshit Maharaj, my dear king, one should stay at a place where the great acharyas, holy teachers, speak about the transcendental activities of the Lord, and one should give oral reception to the nectarian river flowing from the moon-like faces of such great personalities. So we should be around devotees who are speaking about Krishna, and we should give oral reception to that nectarian river that's coming from their lotus mouths. If someone eagerly continues to hear such transcendental sounds, then certainly he'll become freed from all material hunger, thirst, fear, and lamentation, as well as all illusions of material existence. So maybe we've experienced it that, I don't know, that you go to some place where there's a wonderful kirtan or a wonderful katha, and you're hearing about Krishna, and you're so absorbed, you forget about your material body, you forget about your hunger, your thirst, your fears, your anxieties, everything goes away and you're just completely happy. That's because that's who we really are as soul. The Atma is eternally happy in connection to Krishna. It's only because of this false burden that we're carrying that we're unhappy. So letting go of that burden by coming in association with devotees and hearing as much as possible. That will be the mantra that will awaken us from that snake bite of this of the Maya illusion. So I was trying to think of some examples from the Srimad Bhagavatam of devotees who were constantly trying to stay awake and not be illusioned by this material world. And I was thinking about Ambarish Maharaj. He had so much opulence. He was a king of this, vast area, but he never considered that it's for my enjoyment. He always used everything in Krishna's service. He used his body in Krishna's service. He used everything he had in Krishna's service. Thus he was always alert, always awake to the reality that I'm a servant of Krishna. I'm not the controller, I'm not the enjoyer. Krishna's the center, and not my duty is to serve Krishna. And because he was always in that state of Krishna consciousness, when the greatly fearful condition came, where most of us would be so terrified, where all of a sudden a demon is coming at you because of Durvasa Muni got angry at him and sent a demon at him, he was able to stand there it's described, not even moving an inch. There was no fear in his face even. He was just, okay, Krishna, if this is what you want, I accept it. So that was one example I thought about of how somebody who stays in that Krishna conscious state, when fearful conditions comes, they're able to stay unaffected. Another, of course, there's so many examples of this. I was thinking also of King Katavanga. It's described that he was informed that the duration of his life would be only one more moment. And as soon as he heard that, immediately he took shelter of Krishna and went back to Godhead. And in the purport, in this section of Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, Srila Prabhupada, I love this purport so much. Srila Prabhupada says that a fully responsible person should always be conscious of the prime duty of the present human form of life. One should always be alert in his duty for attainment of the best situation in the next life. Human life is meant for preparing ourselves for that prime duty. And King Katavanga, even though he had so many responsibilities, he was a king, he was always alert to his prime duty. I like that sentence, alert to his prime duty. And it reminds us to stay alert. Even though we'll get caught up in this world, it's natural. There's going to be things that come upon us. So many things will come, but trying to stay awake by association with devotees and hearing Krishna Katha. And then another example is Parikshit Maharaj, who was cursed to die in 7 days, and he took it as an opportunity. Okay, now I have a chance to fully dive into hearing and chanting. Instead of getting absorbed in fear, trying to counteract the situation, he took it as an opportunity to dive deep in his spiritual life. So here we have the kings of 20,000 kings who were kept captive by Jarasandha. And at first they're a little bit doubtful. Oh, Krishna, why is it that we're suffering here? We're your devotees. And then they're saying, actually, the problem is not Jarasandha, it's us. We're the ones who are, we have been carrying this burden of a hope of being happy as kings, but it's not making us happy. In fact, it's causing us so much anxiety. And real happiness is not from this world, it's from the Atma, they're saying here. It's from rendering selfless service to you. But we've rejected it. We're so foolish. We've rejected this real happiness. And then next few verses, they're going to pray to Krishna to please save them actually from Jarasandha. And later on, when we read Jarasandha's, when Krishna has Bhima kill Jarasandha, then later when he rescues the kings are going to offer more prayers that are very, very beautiful, that are they have become completely purified by that wait, that constant hankering, waiting for Krishna to come. And it took time. Krishna didn't come immediately. Sometimes Krishna waits to create that hankering. So the kings are hankering, when is Krishna coming? When is Krishna coming? And then when he did come, they were completely, they were much more advanced than they were earlier. They became more advanced devotees from that. So would like to hear anybody, Maharaj or any devotees who would like to share anything. Yes. Oh yeah, that verse, yeah. This is 4:29:40. Yeah, yes. Such a nice verse, yeah. One should hear from the great devotees, like their nectarian river flowing into the ears, and then that will free us from all hunger, thirst, fear, lamentation, from constantly hearing from pure devotees. Yes. Oh, he immediately took shelter of Krishna. He prayed, he meditated on Krishna, he chanted the holy name, and then he went back to God. Yeah, yes.
And he actually came back to earth. He was in the heavenly planet.
Yes. Right, yes. So he came here. Yes, that's right. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bom.
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Enam Kanvandam Maravindanalayataptam Varhavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandar Agom Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Pasyanti Panti Kayanti Chiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ore Rama Hare Rama 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 Ore Hare Ore Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, oh, Ma Rama, Hare Hare. Look at my man, looking on the thread. Get my man, looking on the thread. Jayat, higher, looking my man, looking on the thread. Ratain, ratain, nade. Jai Om Vishnu Paramahamsa Paramahansa, also Tara Satashi Shimad.